Hey, welcome to Midweek Connect. My name's Dave Walker, and it's good to have you joining us again this week for this 10-minute brief Bible study. Good to see you. My title today is They All Know About Me. Two gas company servicemen were out on patrol in their locality, in a particular suburb in a town, and they were sort of talking to each other about what they normally did in the evening. And one of them was an older serviceman and one was an apprentice. And so the older man said, "What do you normally do in the evening when you're off duty?" And he said, "Well, what normally I sort of go running. I'm part of a running club." And the older guy says, "I bet you can't run faster than me." And, he says, "Well, actually, no, I can. I can run faster than you." And the older guy says, "I bet you can't." The younger guy says, "Yes, I can." And there they were with their gas company service uniforms on, with the logo on. He said, "Okay, I'll treat you to a challenge you actually, to a match right now. Let's go for a run right now." And so the older guy and the younger guy with the uniforms on started running down the street to try and just test each other on a 100-meter dash. And all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a woman come running after them at high speed, desperate, running behind them. They both looked behind and said, What are you chasing us for?" She said, "Well, listen, I'm not stupid. When I see two gas company servicemen running, I figure I need to run as well." My challenge to you really, when you hear that, and when I hear that, is do people see you and want to run with you? Are you the type of person that people want to run with? Paul, in the New Testament, had a reputation, a good one. Philippians 1:12-14 says this: "Now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel." Wow. This guy was taken under guard to Rome. He was in prison. He was treated badly. And yet he didn't complain in a way that would give him a bad reputation. He talked about it in a way that would give him a good reputation, a reputation that would stick with everyone round him. He said, as a result, it's become clear throughout the whole palace guard, the imperial guard, and to everyone else that I'm in chains for Christ. Because of my chains, most of the brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear. This guy ran, and he ran in such a way that others wanted to run with him as well. He inspired those who were putting him in captivity, and he encouraged those who were with him as well. Guess what? If you are a Christian like me and you want to be a better Christian, you realize the fact that you're going to die at one point in your life, you come to the end of your life, are you going to look back and think, did I do what God wanted me to do? If you're a Christian and you sort of see yourself like that, you cannot look at this and ignore it. Paul says, what I have become has been obvious to the whole palace guard. And I'm telling you now, do they all know about you? The title is They All Know About Me. This challenge to me is quite simple. Our primary objective, our raison d'etre as Christians, is to make the gospel known and be a very, very good advert for Christianity to such a point where people see us and they want to run with us. There has been a lot of talk about statues in the news recently. If they ever put one up for me, I wonder what it would say. I probably dread to think, actually. But I want to have the type of reputation that Paul had. Paul himself was probably recalling somehow, even though Mark's gospel wasn't written at this point, he was recalling probably through oral tradition or something else in his mind what Jesus would have said earlier. When Jesus said in Mark 8:34-38, then he called the crowd to him along with his disciples and said, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny himself." Really? So you've got to deny yourself. See, I thought that becoming a Christian means you could be rich and successful and everything else, and God's got a plan for your life. Well, actually, he has got a plan for your life, but also he says that he wants us to deny ourselves. So thankfully, I kind of realised that early on in my Christian faith. I was kind of only joking about the rich thing, but sometimes we fall into that trap, don't we? Verse 35, "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world and forfeit their soul? What can anyone give in exchange for their soul? And this is verse 38, what Paul would have also been aware of. If anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, it's perfectly okay. Did he say that? No, he said, if anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with his holy angels. That is a challenge to me. It is a challenge to me to look at myself and say, am I the type of person that other people want to run with? That do the whole palace guard know about me? And I need to look at that. I remember a long time ago, I passed my driving test in, I think it was 1989. It took me a bit longer than my peers, but I passed the test in the end. And I remember literally phoning my friend the moment I passed and saying, there's a friend called Peter Gale I used to know back then, a Christian friend. And I said to him, Pete, guess what? He said, what? I said, I've passed my driving test. And wow, well done. I told him all about the test, repeated several things several times because I was so excited. And he said, wow, well done. And afterwards I thought, am I that enthusiastic for the gospel? Because when I look at the Bible, I look also as Matthew 28, 19 to 20. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I've commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. And also in Jude 1, 22 to 23, the urgency is repeated again. And have mercy on those who doubt, and save others by snatching them out of the fire. To others show mercy with fear, hating even the garment stained by flesh. The imperial guard knew all about Paul's mission. Those with him saw Paul and just thought, I want to be like you. I want to do it. Yes, the gospel is the most important thing. And it's really up to us to have to allow God to inspire us and give us boldness, and to see how we can have opportunities to share that on a daily basis, so we can go to bed at night and think, wow, you know, I shared this. And I know it's a theme that I've mentioned before, but it is important. This is an illustration called Big Guns. And a preacher called Leighton Ford was actually saying this. So this is Leighton Ford. He said, I was speaking at an open-air crusade in Halifax, Nova Scotia. That's in North America. Billy Graham was to speak the next night and had arrived a day early. He came incognito and sat on the grass at the rear of the crowd. Because he was wearing a hat and dark glasses, nobody recognised him. Directly in front of him sat an elderly gentleman who seemed to be listening intently to my presentation. When I invited people to come forward as an open sign of commitment, Billy decided to do a little personal evangelism. He tapped the man on the shoulder and asked, would you like to accept Christ? I'll be glad to walk down the aisle with you if you want to. The old man looked at him up and down and said, no. I'm going to wait until it's the big gun, Billy Graham, tomorrow night. Not realising that was Billy Graham in disguise speaking to him. And Leighton Ford said that him and Billy Graham had actually had quite a few good laughs about that. Do we wait for the famous people to do it, or do we take on the role ourselves and do what God wants us to do? Paul was known by the whole imperial guard. He was known for sharing the gospel. I'm just going to read one more illustration. It's slightly long. Please stick with me. It's probably about 2 minutes, and then I'll wrap it up and close in prayer. But this is good. And every time I hear this, it challenges me no end. The story of the life-saving station. On a dangerous sea coast where shipwrecks often occur, there was once a crude little life-saving station. The building was just a hut and there was only one boat. But the few devoted members kept a constant watch over the sea, and with no thought for themselves, went out day and night tirelessly searching for the lost. Some of those who were saved and various others in the surrounding area wanted to become associated with the station and gave of their time and money and effort for the support of its work. New boats were brought and new crews trained. The little life-saving station grew. Some of the members of the life-saving station were unhappy that the building was so crude and poorly equipped that they felt a more comfortable place should be provided as the first refuge of those saved from the sea. They replaced the emergency cots with beds and put better furniture in the enlarged building. Now the life-saving station became a popular gathering place for its members, and they decorated it beautifully and furnished it exquisitely because they used it as a sort of club. Fewer members were now interested in going to the sea on life-saving missions, so they hired lifeboat crews to do this work. The life-saving motive still prevailed in the club's decorations, and there was a miniature lifeboat in the room where the club's initiations were held. This time, a large ship was wrecked off the coast, and the hired crews brought in boatloads of cold, wet, and half-drowned people. These people were dirty and sick, and some of them were in a horrible state. Some of them smelled. The beautiful club was in chaos, so the property committee immediately came together and had a shower house built outside the club where the victims of shipwreck could be cleaned up before coming inside. Just less than a minute left of this. And the next meeting, there was a split in the club membership. Most of the members wanted to stop the club's life-saving activities since they were unpleasant and a hindrance to the normal social life of the life-saving station. They were voted down and told that if they wanted to save lives, some people, were told that they wanted the life-saving activities to carry on, but they were voted down. And they were told that if they wanted to carry on doing life-saving activities, they should start a little club down the road. They did do. They started up a new life-saving station, which was true to the original mission of the club. But over years, that stopped saving people from the sea as well. And there were many life-saving stations along that particular sea coast, but a lot of the people drowned. It's an illustration to me of perhaps sometimes how the church has become, whereby the mission of saving souls, of evangelism, maybe hasn't always been the priority that I believe it should do as we come out of lockdown. Paul was known to the whole imperial guard as being a saver of souls. It challenges me no end. And I want to say to you today, does this speak to you? It's not supposed to condemn you. It's meant to challenge me, and I hope encourage you as well to be somebody who others can run with. I want to be somebody who others can run with, but the mission that I want to run with is the mission of saving souls. And I believe as a church, collectively across the country, this should be our focus as we come out of lockdown and look to see where God is guiding us. God bless you. Thank you for listening. And if you want to know more about the Christian faith, please contact me. Please email me on walker2468@hotmail.com. God bless you. Thank you.